we'll get going. I'll take a quick minute just to introduce our guest speaker with us here this afternoon. So man, I don't know about you guys. Who is ready to get out of their houses? I see some heads.
Yes.
Nodding. You know, I see some hands up. Yeah. So this has kind of been the new normal, but here's the reality is, you know, we've been working really hard the last couple of weeks to put together some speakers or some classes like this for our real estate partners, because despite everything that's going on around us, this is still a great opportunity to be in the real estate business, and there are still opportunities for you to grow your business. And so what we're trying to do is just put some content in front of you to give you some ideas to help you through this time. So we've asked a national speaker, Steve Richman, to join us here this afternoon. Steve has had the pleasure of presenting to over 250,000 real estate agents and mortgage professionals in every single state in the union. That's pretty remarkable, my man. And so today, he's with us via Zoom. And so normally Steve would travel all around the country, probably travels more than anybody I know. What'd you say, Steve? Like you're on the road probably 4 or 5 days a week on a normal week? So I'm sure you're.
I actually had our corporate counselor call me today and say we're saving so much money because you're not on a plane. This is great.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping out the company.
Yeah, no doubt, right? But you know, I'm sure your family's enjoying having you at home. But you know, over the time, you know, Steve has learned 9 valuable lessons that he's going to share with us today to help you embrace your business and keep you going. Even once Corona goes away. And you know, we've kind of made a theme here at VanDyk that we're all in this together, and that's a sentiment that I know that Genworth shares with us as well. With Steve. So the real question is, are we willing to make the changes that are necessary in our new reality to make sure that we find success with the way things are going to be in the future? Here's what I know is that the way we're doing business now has changed, and it will probably never go back to the way it was, and that's okay. But we're going to work through this together. So Steve, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you talk about 9 things that we can embrace today to keep us going even when the Corona goes away.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. You all probably mostly are in Florida. I'm hanging out here in North Carolina. I haven't gotten a haircut in a while. If you can't tell, that's just the way that it's going to be. So that way I try and distract from this by going with the mustache. That will be gone in a couple of days because my wife said so. Yeah, I do travel a lot. This is where we are today. It's interesting. I was on a panel discussion. I think it was last week. It's hard to remember what week was what. And there were 4 experts like me who were on the call, and we're going through this whole thing. They're saying, well, when the offices open back up, and I know you're waiting for 3 o'clock this afternoon, and it's 3:06 right now to see what the governor says about Florida. Are we opening back up? We're waiting for that in North Carolina as well. And they were all talking about that. And I said, I have one question first. How many of you think that offices are going to open back up and people are going to want to go back into the office? And everybody immediately said, oh, yeah, it's all about corporate culture and working together, and I miss people. And I sort of sat back and I was listening to them, and I said, I think we have to take our cue from the real estate industry, because what I hear from originators all across the country is it's harder and harder to get in touch with real estate agents because they've stopped going into the office. They've created home offices, and that's where they're starting to work out of. So when we look at what's going to happen, I do think we're going to have a hybrid of actually in the office and home office. So we have to start really thinking and getting prepared for that. Now, what Brian also said was we are a community. Brian, I'm not really happy with you. That's the 8th thing that I'm going to tell you to embrace. So just shut up for a couple minutes and we will get there. I promise you. We will send a copy of this presentation out to everybody. So if I talk quickly, I know. I don't know. Are you all recording it? Can I get a nod of a yes or a no? Or they are recording it, so I'm sure you'll be able to download it and get a copy of it if you want, but we'll also send you a copy of the presentation. If you don't get it, yell at Brian or John, because I'm going to send it to them, and they know everybody who's on the call, so we can do that. But let's jump into it. The other thing that I will say, just before we do jump into it, is if you have a comment, a question, whatever, there is a chat box. Just go over into that chat box and John and Brian are reading it, and they'll say, hey, hold on, Steve, so-and-so has a question. And if you just really want to shout it out, just unmute yourself, ask the question, and I'll answer the question, unless your name is Chance. Okay, so what we're looking at as we go in and we try and figure out how to get all this done, I'm going to give you a couple slides here at the beginning, okay? This right here is what we're going to do. Hold on one second. I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to click that. And then, John, Brian, can you just give me, you can see my screen that says 9 things to embrace? Okay, I got that, so that's working. So 9 things to embrace today and keep doing when Corona goes away. I'm not just doing a slideshow today, but there are certain things I want you to be able to see so that you're able to do it. The first thing, you got to embrace video. I don't care if it's FaceTime, I don't care if it's Facebook Live. I don't know if you know that, but there's a video service out there called Co-Video. I have a feeling they might be changing their name sometime soon. A lot of people do like Co-Video, but you know, hey, that's got COVID in the title. So I'm not sure how long that's still going to hang around. Personally, I use Videolicious. I think Videolicious is really good. Like Facebook Live is for you and I that are talking right here, or FaceTime, or even Zoom is great for when you're talking real time with somebody. I prefer Videolicious and BombBomb if you're making a recording, just so you know what's going on and the things that are out there. You use different tools for different things that you're trying to accomplish. That's where I'm going. No, this is seltzer water. Hold on one second. Just got a little tickle in my throat when I'm saying that. But what I'm watching is everybody's jumping on Zoom today. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about Zoom, but I don't care what you get on, you got to get on something. Now, I will have real estate agents, I have loan officers. Do I really have to get on this stuff? Answer, yes. I used to think texting was stupid. I'm like, why should I text? I have a what? I have a phone right here. It has email on it. I can talk to somebody. Why do I need to text? Now, everybody, all they do is text all the time. The next thing they're going to do is video. Everybody wants to be on video. Everybody wants to see you on video. Get on video. But I don't like the way I look on video. I don't like the way I sound on video. Hey, guess what? That's the way you look and sound to each and every one of us every day. So get over yourself, get on video. Pick a partner and just say, hey, will you do a video call with me just so you get comfortable seeing yourself on video? It'll make yourself so much easier, so much more comfortable, be able to do it. So we do it off your phone, get comfortable with whatever tool that you're going to use. And the first thing, especially when we're talking to customers, we got to name it something interesting. Nobody wants to join a video call said, hey, let's get on a video call. Stop it. That sounds horrible. Maybe if we said it's a lunch and learn, I'd be thinking about doing it. Maybe if we did it even better, because how many of you have been asked to go to a virtual happy hour? I mean, I've gone to more virtual happy hours than real happy hours that I've ever done my entire life. I've never seen so many happy people. So call it wine and wisdom. People love that alliteration between those. Quick bites and quick bits. That's what we're going to do. Virtual happy hour always works because people like to drink. I'm not sure if you know this, but alcohol sales in the United States of America are up 22% than before this quarantine isolation went in, and that includes bar sales. So we are actually buying more from the liquor store than what we were doing at bars. We are at 22%. Think about that for a second. I also say, you know, who needs a break? 15 minutes to learn, have fun, and learn 2 apps. I see that 15 minutes, I'm going to join that. That's something that we can do. So that's the first step, is you want to name it something interesting. Here's tip number 2. There's me without the facial hair, and then there's somebody beautiful in that picture. That's my daughter. Her name's Isabel. She's the best. If you don't think she's the best, come over here and we can fight, okay? I'm ready to throw down. Let's do it. She is incredible. But I know so many people hate doing video. They're uncomfortable doing video. Here's what you do. Have someone with you when you do your video, especially at the beginning. For me, that's Isabel. So when I initially got on this call, I said to John, hey, is somebody else going to be running the electronics? I can't do this and look who's getting in, who has a question. Somebody else gets to run all the admin, the electronics of it. Let me just be the speaker. Folks, when you're sitting there, you're saying, am I really in the middle of the frame? What button should I be pushing? Does it sound good? Does it not? Have someone else do that for you. It'll make your life so much better. And here's the other thing, especially when you start. It feels so weird to talk to a wall, to talk to a phone, to talk to nothing. When you have somebody there, my daughter, listening, guess what happens? I'm getting instant feedback as if it's because there's a live person there. I have actually, when I've recorded things, made my daughter laugh while I've been talking. When I do that, I know I'm doing something right. I have actually made my daughter, while she is recording me, reach into her pocket, pull out her phone, and start texting a friend. I know I'm boring as sin at that moment, and I need to change something up. So you can get that real live feedback immediately by having somebody doing that for you, there for you, and you're looking at them, and it makes it feel that much more natural. Now, how do you set it up? It's so easy to throw it on the computer, click here to join, and call it something fun. If you're not here, we're going to talk about you. We know that all of a sudden somebody says, well, I guess this is this group. I probably should go join that group. Now you're saying, all right, I got the people there. What am I going to talk about? I don't care if you're a real estate agent. I don't care if you're a mortgage professional. The number here is 52. Either take a deck of cards or take a piece of paper and number it. 1, 2, 3. Well, you don't have to number a deck of cards because there's 52 in there, but just number 1, 2, 3, 52. Think of 52 questions you've been asked over the last 2 years. Guess what? You have now 52 pieces of content to be able to go deliver on a video, because that's what people care about. Just put it out for 52. You now have what? You have one question every single week that you're eligible and ready to answer for whoever is going to listen to you. Easiest way to do it is to set it up front, get those 52. But I think there's another number out there that's not 52 that's really relevant. What's that number? 4. Now you're sitting here looking at me and you're going, 4? What's he talking about? People don't talk about 4. Well, do they talk about 4 bears? Because you got 4 bears that are sitting right there. And if you don't like 4 bears, maybe you talk about ants. And now you got what? Now you got 4 bears. See, what we're trying to figure it out is how creatively can we come in there and say, hey, visually, that was interesting. It made me think. Now I'm engaged. See, if you did a title that said this, a virtual happy half hour, how to become unimproved in 60 seconds and 29 minutes of drinking, I'd sign up for that class and I'd be willing to be there. It doesn't take that long to talk about what happens if you do a forbearance today of what's going to happen when you look to buy a house tomorrow. So if we do it that way and we can get them to join in, we're having that communication with them. So our first thing is embrace video. And when we go in there to embrace video, a lot of people are doing Zoom. So let me talk about Zoom specifically just for a minute or two, and then we'll move into the other stuff. This part is done on your computer. This is not when you're in your Zoom session. This is like when you're not online, okay? So you go into your Zoom profile. So you go to zoom.com, you go into your profile, and under profile, you'll see a button right there, and it says, there's a picture, Steve Richman. I don't look like that. So what you just do is under profile, you see that button that says change. Click that change button, and then you insert your picture that you want of yourself right there. You got to have a picture so that you don't want it to look like that gray box. You want to put a picture in there. The second thing, now remember under personal, I want you to, we did profile. We just did that. I want you to go down to where it says settings. There's about 17, 18 settings that are in there. There's a lot of them, okay? I think it's the third to the bottom, but it's very much towards the end. There's something that says virtual background. Switch your virtual background from gray to blue, or from left to right, whichever way you want to say it. What's virtual background? You see this back here? That's my house. That's boring. Virtual background lets me pick whatever background I want. You could all see me right now in Hawaii. There could be palm trees. Up, there goes Chance because he's Mr. Roller Coaster because he's so cool. So what happens is you can change your background there. Now, Chance is doing it right now, but first, in your settings, you got to say virtual background approved, change it to blue. Then, when you're in an actual session, at the bottom left-hand corner of your box, of your picture of where you are, there's a microphone, and next to it is a little, it looks like an up arrow, okay, or part of a triangle. Then there's going to be a camera that's sitting right there, and then there's going to be another up angle triangle arrow. It's that last one, the fourth one, that you want to click. And at the bottom right there, once you click that up arrow, it says choose virtual background. Once you do that, it will then come up and say, okay, you want to choose a virtual background? Do you want none? I have a virtual background of me down at Pebble Beach. I also have one of me at the bottom of the ocean. So they're all sitting right there. So you're thinking, well, why isn't the guy using that right now? Why am I looking at the back of his house, the mirror behind him? Well, certain computers will do it and certain people's won't. My computer's a little bit old, so it will say, unless you have a green screen, you can't use this device. So if you can't use that, if you don't have certain things, it will let you know, check that out, it will help you. There is a second thing that I think is so critical, and yes, I use it, when it comes to Zoom. Now, if you remember, we have virtual background. You all see that in the middle of the page right there? You should be able to see that. Go 3 up from that and you see something that says video. When you go into video in your settings, look over to the right-hand side of the page right now, and under My Video, it says Enable HD. If you look like me, you never want to enable HD. Why? Because when you enable HD, they can see every single imperfection that is anywhere on the screen. I go to what's called Touch Up My Appearance. What's Touch Up My Appearance? It makes me better looking than I am. So if right now you're going, hey, that guy doesn't look so good, that's how bad I look, even with Touch Up My Appearance. Think about that for a second. So if you had a late night, you got black bags under your eyes, your hair is a mess right now, it actually makes it fuzzier so I can't see the fine details in your face. So those are the types of things that I want you to start to think about and to do when you say, okay, I got to go in there and figure out how to hit Zoom. Those are a couple quick tips on Zoom. So I'm going to bring it back to me, stop sharing. I just asked, were there any specific questions on Zoom or getting people, you doing video or questions on how anything in that world? Okay, I'm getting a lot of no's. So that's embrace number 1, embrace video. Number 2, today is January 2nd. I don't know if you know that, but today is January 2nd. Embrace it. You know what tomorrow is? January 2nd. You know what the day after is? January 2nd. Why do I say that? January 2nd is the stupidest day of the year. Why? Why are you waiting till January 2nd to do whatever you think that you should be doing today? If today you say, hey, you know what? I don't have to do anything for the next 9 months. I do not have to exercise until January 2nd. That is ridiculous. If you'd like to start exercising, start today. If you'd like to start getting more customers, start today. If you want to start getting comfortable with video, don't wait for next week to get comfortable with video. Start today. It's a procrastinator's dream to look at January 2nd on the what? Calendar. Why? I can wait until then and I don't have to do anything. If you know that you should be doing it, start doing it today and stop waiting for that special time for it to come across. So number 1 is do video. Number 2 is every day is January 2nd. Number 3 comes from a movie. What's that movie? Well, you may have seen it already when I zipped it up there real quick, and let's see if this shares this again. I mean, it doesn't make me go back to the beginning. I hope that it keeps flowing with me. Oh, there we go. So do we all see Alec Baldwin on the screen? Yes. Okay, that's Glengarry Glen Ross. You ever see if you haven't seen Glengarry Glen Ross and you're a salesperson, you're missing it, okay? You got to go see that movie. Now, I'm not Alec Baldwin, but Alec Baldwin comes in, and I'm not going to do a real imitation of him, but when Alec Baldwin comes in, what does he say? He goes, let me tell you about the ABCs of sales. Always be closing. I think that's wrong. That's why people don't like salespeople and don't like talking to salespeople. I don't think it's ABC. You know what I think it is? I think it's ABL. Always be learning. In today's world, there's so much that is changing so quickly. There's new apps coming out. There's new websites. We got to learn how to do Zoom. We're doing forbearances. We don't know what's going to happen to rates. You know, we hear things all the time, like the Fed Fund just set rates down to 0. I know every person in here, real estate agent and mortgage professional, has had a customer, at least one, come up to them and say, hey, can I get a 0% rate? Hey, no. Why? We got to learn what actually makes rate happen and what the Fed Fund, what that really affects. What that really affects is not home rates. We're talking maybe car loans, but we're not talking about what? So we have to ABL. Always be learning. And a lot of people are spending more time at home. Everyone's watching Netflix. Stop it. This is the greatest time to read a book. This is the greatest time to learn about that thing that you didn't know in the past. This is the greatest time to say, what is secondary marketing? Or how, I don't really understand how Carvana's working. Have you ever heard of Carvana? Carvana, there's a lot of people saying, why don't we make Carvana's the new way to buy what? Cars. So a lot of people are saying, why don't we have a new way to buy homes? Well, you got to understand how Carvana works, learn how Carvana works to realize that is never going to get applied to what? To housing. A lot of people just looked up at the screen. How the heck does he know that? Let me tell you why. Because what Carvana says is Once you buy the car, you have a week to decide if you like it, and then you can bring it back if you don't. You can't let somebody move into a house for a week, and if they don't like the house, then they get to move out. It's just not going to work that way. But we have to look and learn what other industries are doing to try and figure that out. What else are we going to do? I already said we have to learn how to do video better. Make sure that you're doing that. What else do we want to learn? If you're a mortgage professional, sign up for Chrisman. You got to learn what's going on. Not only will that tell you what's going on in the mortgage industry, it will also tell you what your competition is doing. If you care about the economy, and God knows we all care about the economy right now, and we're watching the unemployment numbers go off the charts, there's a guy named Elliot Eisenberg, econ70.com, econ70.com. And what Elliot does is he does 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. He says, this is what happened in the economy today, and he does it in 70 words or less. He'll send it to you. If you're a real estate agent, which most of you are sitting on this call, and you're like, I want a podcast, well, the real estate sessions with Bill Rizzer is a wonderful place to go. He just does a really, really nice job. I believe he works for a title company. He's down there in Florida, but the way he sets this up is great and great information. Hour of your day, you're eating. Somebody I think was just agreeing, Brian was. Were you saying something, Brian?
I had him last week as a speaker. He was great.
Okay. Not as great as me, but he was great. I'll totally agree. I'm just laying it along. We're having a good time. So Bill's really, really great guy. But yeah, you had him last week. I get him every week. Why? Because I listen to his podcasts every week. So every day is January 2nd. I start applying this stuff today. Also, if you want to follow blogs or anything like that of what we're doing, Genworth has some blogs online. You're more than welcome to join that. That's where that is. So that's where we're starting to learn. Just a couple quick things. One of the things I've said to you about learning is look to other industries. If you've never used HomeSnap is great. With a click of a button on a house, it will tell you what year that house was built, what the square footage is, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, when it last sold, and how much it last sold for, and what schools it goes to. Well, that's pretty fascinating. But they didn't stop there. They're constantly learning. They learned that there's a power out there that on hunting apps. You know what a hunting app does? It shows you the plat where that hunting area is where you can go kill things. So what do? You want to know what your boundaries are for your house? They now added that to HomeSnap. So now you can actually see your property boundaries that are sitting right there. Another great app that is out there is something that's called what? Postagram. What did I learn from Postagram? I look at different industries. If I go to Facebook right now, nobody writes words anymore. Chase and I are dueling back and forth on who has the worst picture that they can post online of ourselves. That's what we do. We post videos. We know people are very visual today. What's Postagram? If you're a real estate agent, when you're at settlement, take a picture of the people when they're buying their house and they're really happy. You send it to Postagram. It says, it will print that in color on a postcard and says, what do you want to write on the back? Congratulations on your new house. We're so happy for you. Boom. And it sends it off to them. I will keep a picture longer than I will keep something that is handwritten. This one, I bring this up because I just did this to share this with my wife 2 days, Monday. I don't know how many days ago that is. A lot of people are in their homes right now, and they're looking at their homes and they're saying, I don't like certain parts about my home anymore. It's time for me to paint. Well, my wife, who sits in the office, she's not sitting in this office. I'm in the dining room. She has her own office, and Lord knows we cannot sit next to each other because I drive her crazy. But I went into her office, and her office is a very light greenish color, and she's got a blue stripe on the wall. I said, what are you doing? She goes, I'm trying to figure out if I want to make my office blue. I'm like, stop. Go to Paint Tester. When you get Paint Tester, it's an app. Take a picture of the room. You take a picture of the color of paint, and it repaints the room that color so you can determine, yes, this is the paint color that I like to have for the room. So you get the visual before you do it. We're all involved. See, so if all of a sudden you're a real estate agent and you're like, man, everybody's stuck at home. How do I keep in touch with my customers? Imagine you said, I'm going to do a video, or you sent out just an email that says, stuck at home, thinking of doing home improvements, want to do some paint? Download Paint Tester and see what color paint will look best in that room. It is just that way to be able to look at the other industries to say, these are the things that I need to start doing. Around Me is another great one. People are starting to use this right now because they're sick of going to the same place to get the carry out every night because they don't feel like cooking. Before any person buys a home, they should stand on the driveway of that home, download Around Me, and say, what are within 3 miles, tell me every restaurant, every gas station, every bank, every school, every basketball court, every bowling alley. So now all of a sudden you can truly find what is around you. I actually put in there walking paths. Now I can find out where I always walk on the same path. There's another one. If I go just another couple hundred yards down the road, I can find something and I have totally new scenery that I can look at. I love it. If we have anybody in Georgia, your bowling alleys are about to open. If you don't like bowling, so you don't know where the bowling alley is, with the click of a button, you can find out exactly where those bowling alleys are. So what we've just done, and hopefully we're all sticking through this and we're getting something out of it that's valuable, is we just said, all right, I got to embrace video. I got to embrace January 2nd. I got to always be learning. What's the fourth one, Steve-O? The fourth one comes from another movie. It's a movie called Major League. In the movie Major League, there was a guy, his name was Pedro Serrano. Pedro Serrano, who later became the, he does, I think it's nationwide commercials, and he was president of the United States during the TV show 24. Great actor. Pedro Serrano was a great baseball player, but he had one big problem. He couldn't hit the curve. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no crying in baseball. Well, Giovanni, I agree, but that was Tom Hanks in a totally a league of their own. I'm talking about Major League, totally different movie. One's a little bit more slapsticky than the other, but yes, there is no crying in baseball. Just ask what? Just ask Tom Hanks. But going back into Pedro Serrano, you got to hit the curve. Oh my gosh, the world just changed. We're in isolation. We're all of a sudden quarantined. Your business shouldn't suffer. You got to be able to hit the curve. Oh my gosh, well, we haven't done video in the past. Hit the curve. I've never had something go 100% smoothly. Have you? Of course you haven't. What we need to do, and video has been the perfect thing for doing all this. What happens when we do that? Because we always know that a kid's going to walk in, a dog's going to walk in, the neighbors are going to yell, something's going to happen in the middle of the video, and it's okay. Hit the curve. I have a commercial real estate agent friend. He says to me, he had his biggest deal of his life that was about to go down. It set him up for the entire year. He didn't have to work at all the rest of the year. Once this one deal went down, he was set up. He was thinking about retiring. The day before signing, everybody got quarantined and stuck in isolation. His deal died. They said, I'm not going through with that. The business is gone. What's he going to cry about it? Folks, you got to be ready to hit the curve. And when I say be ready to hit the curve, let me give you a way to be able to do that. When I think about hitting the curve, a lot of people say, well, it's so hard, man. A curveball's so hard. The appraisal came in low. It's so hard. Oh, my God, the borrower's not calling me back. It's so hard. Oh, there's not a lot of inventory out there. It's so hard. Never use the word hard. Why? You know what's hard? A rock is hard. It's never going to change. It's always going to be hard. And it's a very crippling thing to hear. Oh, my gosh, it's so hard. There's nothing you can do about it. In my house, we say it's messy. Why? Because even my daughter, the beautiful Isabel, who's 15 years old, knows when there's a mess, you can clean it up. Usually she's the one who's required to clean it up. But when you call something a mess, you know you can do something about it. A rock is hard. You can pour as much water on that rock, and it's always going to be hard. A mess, you can clean up. The appraisal comes in a little low. Hey, it's just a little messy. What do we need to do to clean it up? So we need to be able to change that mindset. This comes from NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And when you have, or get hair on it. Well, that's why I'm growing this, Brian. I'm going to, comb it back that way. But when we look at it, and it is a mess, which is my face. I got what you're saying there, bro. So you do that. It comes from neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro-linguistic programming is really the secret behind everything that Anthony Robbins does. It's how you can program your brain based upon your neurology, based upon the words that you use, mess instead of hard. So if you do that, it helps us hit the curve. The next thing I want to talk about is this thing called branding. Everybody today is, you got to own your brand. You got to build your brand. How do I say this? You don't own your brand. You don't build your brand. Your company is not your brand. You know who owns your brand? Your customer. All you do is market yourself and they determine your brand. All you do is communicate what you have to give and they determine if it's worthwhile. What do I mean by that? If you really think about what a brand is, it's what other people say and think about you when you're not there. So you're not building the brand, you're not creating the brand, you're not owning the brand because your brand is being thought of what? When you're not there, so you're not in control of it. I know so many people, they go, oh man, this is our brand, but their actions and their words do not speak to that brand that it is. You need to try and figure out, okay, what do I want to be known for when I'm not there? And what most people try to do, have you ever done a SWOT analysis? If you don't know what a SWOT analysis is, Brian, John, you guys ever do SWOTs? Just shake a head, yes or no? I'm getting no's. Okay, I'm going to tell you what a SWOT analysis is. SWOT stands for SWOT. I do a lot of consulting with companies and I do a lot of personal consulting. And SWOT is like the main thing that everybody wants. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my opportunities? What are my threats? SWOT. And as soon as you set that up for an individual person or company, they spend 95% of their time looking at what? Their weaknesses and their threats, and they try to figure out, how do I not be weak? How do I figure out how not to be threatened? Folks, your brand should play to your strengths and your opportunities. So your weaknesses and your threats will only make you as good as someone else. Your opportunities and your strengths are the ways that you exceed and you excel the competition. That's what you need to do by looking at your opportunities and your strengths. That's why, quite frankly, people have asked me for so long, why don't you write a book? Because I'm not a good writer. Okay, I think I'm a pretty good speaker, so I'm playing in my strength, and I'm one day going to hire a ghost writer and let them do that. Partner with a person that can help you with the threats and the weaknesses. Peggy, we'll have a conversation after this, no problem. She says she'll write for me, I'm all in it. But I do want to give you the other thing here. Your strengths are usually what? They're usually built upon something you care about, something you enjoy. You need to introduce that into your brand. You're not just a real estate agent. So I have a guy, his name's Brian. He's a really nice guy. And he and I, we get along very well because he's a trivia guy. So every Friday he sends out, here's a trivia question. First person to get it right gets a $5 Starbucks card. He engages with his customers every Friday to look forward to that. And they know at 9 o'clock that's coming. I better be first. I want my $5 Starbucks card. So his brand is what? He's a pretty laid back. He likes trivia. He doesn't get too worked up about things. He's knowledgeable. I got another guy. His name is Dave. Dave loves his dogs. Maybe a little bit more than he should. But Dave loves his dogs. Okay, he's all about the dogs all the time. I mean, every picture he has on Facebook. Look what this Wiggles. He calls his dog Wiggles. Look at what Wiggles did today. Yada yada yada. So what are you doing? Oh my God, that's Dave. He's that really smart guy who has that cute dog. He has built his brand. Down there in Florida, you got Sue Pinky Benson. She's built a brand. Your brand is what other people think about when you are not there. Now, as part of your brand, though, I want you to do what? I want you to think like a spider. What? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. What is this guy talking about? Think like a spider. That makes no sense. Let's see if this works this time. And we go to the next one. We got a whale on the screen? John, Brian? Did it work? Yeah, okay. So you're going, I don't want to be a spider, man. Spiders are little, they're scary, they're ugly, and they got 8 legs. I want to be the whale. I want to be King Kong. No, you don't. Why? Because in order to be a whale, you have to have a lot of money and do a lot of advertising. And here's the main problem with being a whale. I'm a scuba diver, so I pay attention to this. How does a whale eat? A whale goes up, opens up his or her mouth, and takes anything that's in the way. Every week I can find another whale has died because they've eaten too much garbage, too much plastic, and it's been killing them. Folks, if you want to be a whale, you're going to be, as a real estate agent, you're going to be dealing with so many people who aren't able to buy a home because they don't have the qualification for it. You're going to be wasting your time. I want you to be more targeted than being a whale, and that's what a frog does. A frog goes, this is exactly what I want, this is who I'm looking at, this is where I'm going to go, and I have a direct line, tongue, and I'm able to get it right there. Your database is awesome. You know everything about your customers that are sitting right there. You know your birthdays. You know if they have kids, and you know if those kids are about to be at home buying age. You know when their kids are graduating. You know what their credit's like. You know who they work for. You know other people who they work for. So all of a sudden, you could talk to those people and get involved with that employer. Folks, a big problem that I find all the time, and I've yelled at people at CRM companies. CRM companies are doing a hurt to you, okay? A real estate agent or mortgage professional. They walk in and they say, hey, our CRM is great. You click it and you can forget about it. It takes care of everything. No. Your CRM is the thing that you're leveraging because you still have to do your brand and take your brand out there. You can't rely on the CRM to do that. You use the CRM. The CRM is not independent from you. You still need to know your customer. Don't ever go on Facebook and see when it says it's somebody's birthday and write happy birthday on Facebook. Go text that person. Go do what? Go send them an email. Call them. Oh, I'm not a Facebook friend. I'm a text buddy. That's how tight we are, okay? That's how you want to do it. But when I go and I look at this spider concept, let me just talk about spiders for a second. The first thing to understand about spiders is it's mainly the female spider. I Googled this, so it must be true. It's the female spider that makes the web, all right? Now, I'm not interested in the web, the internal of the web. I'm interested in the anchor points that the web is attached to, the permanent places, the important steady structures that are there that actually give substance and power to the web. Folks, you need to be a spider because those anchor points, those bases are what? That's where you're getting your customers from. You can't just say, and I hear this all the time, I'm 100% by referral. Being 100% by referral is really hard to do, especially in today's market with the lack of inventory that's out there and everybody in isolation. So you still, yes, you have to call on your friends and family, your past customers, your leads group, your social media, webpage, title company, your builders. We're all over the map. We have boom, 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 boom. Make sure that we have many points of entry into that web. The one that I didn't mention right there was the community or charity cause. The community or the charity cause. Why? Well, because that actually is my next thing that I want you to embrace. I want you to embrace a community or a charity cause. In today's world, people are looking, I had a guy say to me, this actually happened, that people want you to be nice. People want you to be engaged in the community. People want you to be involved in a charity. When I go to the grocery, have you noticed today when you're going to the grocery store and you let somebody else cut in line in front of you because they have fewer things, and if they're elderly, oh, thank you so much. Folks, they're looking at you in a different light. I had a guy today. I was driving my car. There was a guy on a bicycle, and he was bending over and sitting there. And I said, are you okay? He goes, yeah, everything's fine, man. Wow, total respect. Thanks for saying that. All of a sudden, see, when you get community-based or charity-based, it's a four-win situation. When you do that, you've already got yourself set up. Remember, that's one of your anchor points from the spider. You get yourself set up with a group of people that had no idea who you were before, and now they know you. Number one, you just exposed yourself, got exposure, don't expose yourself, exposure to what? To a whole new group of people. That's a win. Number two, they look at you as a nice, charitable, give back to the community kind of person. You're somebody who's looking out for others. That's the second win. Number three, whoever you're looking out for, they're getting the benefit of whatever you did. I'm involved in something called the Bright Side of the Road Foundation to fight ALS, horrible, horrible disease. But the real beneficiary of that's not me. It's from all the money that I've raised from that, and hopefully we'll be able to get a cure. So there's three quick wins. And the fourth win is really for yourself. You know what? I feel better about myself when I do something nice for other people, and so do you. So when you get a community or a charity cause and you give yourself into that, that's a great way to be able to go, and that's what you need to embrace. Everybody's being, my boss, her name's Julie, she actually, manager, she said to me the other day, do you think people are going to continue to be nice to one another after this whole thing goes away? And my comment was, they should have been nice to each other before we had COVID and Corona sitting around here, as far as I'm concerned. But if you want to do it, embrace it and go forward. Which takes me to what? And I am going to share a screen on this because I couldn't resist here, but we're at number 8. And I know Brian said, hey, what you need to do is have a sense of community, but we are family. I can't stand when people talk about the competition. You know who the first people were to call me as soon as this whole thing came down? Other speakers within the industry. That's not my competition. I know loan originators who are friends with loan originators, and real estate agents, you got to embrace that community even more. Why? Because every real estate agent needs every other real estate agent, because a buyer's agent needs a seller's agent, and a seller's agent needs a buyer's agent, and one day you're going to be one day you're going to be the other. We're not necessary. You know what? We all want the same thing. Anybody on this call want a bad housing market? Anybody on this call want a lot of unemployment? We're all fighting for the same thing. I've gotten business from my competition because I work with my competition. When we join associations, it's critical to join them today because everything is changing and we need to go there. I don't really, you can call it friendly competition, but I just look at it, hey, there's enough business for everybody that's out there. This is my brand. This is what I'm bringing to the table. And if I get it, great. If it goes somewhere else, great. I'm going to work on the next one. But the surest way that you can start to lose deals is start bad-mouthing the competition. Once you go negative, it's really hard to recover from that, and we all really are striving for the same thing. So enough on that. Stop fighting about it and go there. And this is going to take me to number 9. Number 9. What do we need to embrace today to get through this? What is the thing that is going to make us happy while we're stuck at home? What is the thing that we can really learn and get, actual satisfaction when we are stuck at home? How much does it cost to get through this entire pandemic? And my answer is, I have an answer. It costs 2 G's. 2 G's. That does not mean $2,000. When I say 2 G's, I mean grace and gratitude. Grace and gratitude are the 2 things that you can give yourself that will make you so much more efficient and happy and satisfied during what's going on today. What's grace? Give other people a break. You're out driving, somebody cuts you off on the road. You go, that person's like, they're probably like a maniac. Give them a little grace. Thank goodness that's not me. I hope they're not going to the hospital because somebody's sick and they have the virus. When someone cuts you off, when somebody does something bad, when another real estate agent is 10 minutes late, give them a break. Maybe something happened. Their kids are home. My kids are home. Maybe they had to deal with their kid for an extra 10 minutes, help them with their homework. If you start to give grace, it lightens everything up. Because I hear people, how are you doing with this? You doing okay? Is everything all right? I know there's a lot of pressure. You want to get rid of the pressure? Give grace to everybody else. Because once you give grace, it takes all that weight off of you by being nice, by giving forgiveness to that other person, by showing them a little bit of grace. Oh, well, they were late. They didn't call me back. Call them back a second time. Get over it, okay? It's all right. And the next one is gratitude. Be thankful. Right now, and look, I get it right now. And I am so fortunate. No one in my immediate friends and family circle has personally been struck with COVID or died. Amen. You know what? I have gratitude for that. I have empathy for the people that are going through that, but there's a lot of gratitude right here. A lot of people are saying, man, my job is tough right now, and I'm trying to figure out, and I'm stuck at home. I have gratitude that I have a home to be stuck in. I have gratitude that I was able to save enough money where if all of a sudden something happens, I'll be able to pay my mortgage for a little bit. This is the longest I have been with my wife and my daughter since the year 2000. I'm trying to get them gratitude for that. I have gratitude for that because I get to be with them. Right now I'm saying, but oh my gosh, they haven't voted me off the island yet, right? But having that gratitude of saying, oh my gosh, this is so, you know what? Make the best of the situation. Have some gratitude and thanks, because as bad as, we're in Florida. I have friends in New York. The stories that I hear from New York are heartbreaking. They are horrible. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm glad it's happening to them, but there's gratitude that I'm able to do what I am doing today. I have gratitude for something called Zoom. Why? The first 3 weeks when this all happened, I'm going, I don't know if I'm going to keep a job. I can't get on an airplane. I'm on an airplane every single day. After 3 weeks, real estate agents and lenders all figured out, okay, this is the new normal. Let's now start working. And now I'm getting busy again. Amen. Hallelujah. I have gratitude that someone created Zoom, because without this, my job would be a whole lot different. Have gratitude for some of the little things. Stop worrying about all the big things, because the little things are really the ones that are the most important. Folks, that being said, what did we just talk about? I want you to embrace video. I want you to embrace January 2nd. I want you to embrace always be learning. I want you to embrace the curveball and be able to hit it. I want you to embrace your brand. I want you to be a spider. I want you to give a charity or community calls, get in there. I want you to enjoy working with other real estate agents and have 2 G's. That's grace and gratitude. I have gratitude that all of you got on this call here with me today. I truly appreciate that. Why? This morning, I was writing stuff. I told you, aside from my friend Peggy, I don't like writing. So I had a miserable morning, but I'm like, at least I get to talk to a bunch of nice people this afternoon. Have some gratitude. I thank you all for getting on this call with me today. I truly appreciate it. But I'm not going to hang up yet. I want to know if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns about anything we talked about, anything we didn't talk about. Let me know now. I'm more than happy to help. Either type it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and just ask out loud. I'm all cool.
Great job, Steve.
John, Brian, you're reading the stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Somebody's asking if they can see the spider again.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe take a quick picture. Maybe they're looking to take that photo. And
yep. Oh, we're going to send this out to everybody, so you
Okay.
will get it, but I'm still going to share it with you right there. Hold on just 1 second. There's bears. There it is. Spider. Oh, it didn't do it the way. There it is.
Hey, while you're digging up that, on a bit of good news, I did hear that new purchase applications in the mortgage industry are up 12.5% week over week. So that's a good sign. First increase in 5 weeks. So we are moving forward.
Which is awesome. Let's take it the next step. If I'm sitting here and I'm a real estate agent, I'll tell you exactly. And you see right there, past customers. I'd go to any of my first-time home buyers right now that was a first-time home buyer within the last 2 years. Ask them if any of their friends are still renting. Why? Because right now their friends are renting 700 square foot apartments, and they've been stuck in it for so long, and they're going, oh my God, I need some space. That's going to be the next person that you go after. So when you think about being that spider, look at those past customers, but really be targeted like a frog to say, don't go after somebody, this is their third home and a vacation property. That's not what's hitting right now. You want to know who's going to be hungry? That person who's living in a 700 square foot apartment. They can't wait to get out and find their own place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think some of your major cities are going to see a big shift back to the suburbs for sure. So if I'm a realtor right now, I would be heavily focused on maybe, putting ads out there. I mean, here in Florida, we've got wide open space. I know plenty of parts of the country, there's wide open space, and being cooped up in 400, 500, 600, 800 square feet right now for the last 5 weeks isn't fun for many of us. So space is definitely going to be at a premium, and I think you'll see a big shift out of the urban city.
Which takes us, what John just said, that goes back to what? Number 3, always be learning. So now we look where it's going, and that might change what we're thinking.
Yep.
Anything else?
Hey, Steve, this is Brian. Hey, so, you were with us in February at our company's annual event, and one of the things that you said that I took away then, and I know there's a little bit of a change in this today, but we were headed into a recession at that point. Like, all the technical indicators were there, right? And the takeaway that I had is you reminded us, hey, we didn't cause this one, meaning real estate and finance did not cause this recession. Well, this is going to happen a little bit sooner than probably economists originally thought, but that still holds true. So are your thoughts still a quick rebound?
There's a couple questions there. So let me sort of go through them for everybody to get everybody on the same playing field here. My first thought is there going to be a depression or a recession? Maybe, probably one of the two of them. I'm not freaked out about it because we're not the cause of it this time. We haven't watched the same, all of a sudden, home values get depleted the same way that they were. We still have people having excellent credit scores. We're watching the government do multiple things to try and prevent that, to be able, the forbearance comments and other things of having stimulus that's out there. So it doesn't look like, it may go on a GDP, which is the real definition of what a recession is, what the GDP number is, but how it's going to hit housing and mortgages. We're going to have low rates for a very long time, which is going to help that not get that hurt. So that's the way I'm looking at it from a housing, from a mortgage area. And by the way, the views and opinions being expressed here today are the views and opinions of Steve Richman. They're not the views and opinions of Genworth Mortgage Insurance. Therefore, if I'm wrong, please contact me and my attorneys, which is me because I'm an attorney. Okay, so the other one is, and I say this, I was on this conference last week or 2 weeks ago, and there were economists on there, and I was just laughing. I heard one economist say that it was going to be a V rebound. I heard, if you understand what a V rebound, it means it drops fast and it moves up fast. That's a V. I heard another economist say it's going to be a U. A U means it goes down, it levels, and then it starts to go back up. So we have a longer period of time where it's not good. I had another economist, and this one was Mark Zandi, if you know who Mark Zandi is. He says it's going to be a W. What's a W? Goes down, kicks back up, goes back down, kicks back up. Why does he say that? He's saying that we're releasing people back into the wild too quickly. And now what? We're going to have a second dose of corona that's going to come in the fall and the winter. So we were here, we dropped because where we are today, everybody's going back to work, it goes back up, then they get sick again, it's going to go down and then go back up. So he's calling for a W. Elliot Eisenberg, I talked about him with econ70.com. After that conference, I said, I heard that it's going to be a V, a U, and a W. Which one is it going to be? He says, none. I think it's going to be a bathtub. So when I said bathtub, I didn't bother to ask him length or width. But what a bathtub basically means is instead of a U, it's going to be a much slower recovery. It's going to go out for a longer period of time. And that's what we're looking at. So I have heard all four. And I am not bold enough to tell you that I know what's going to happen, but I am bold enough to say when it comes to mortgages, I have people ask me right now, can you put together a program on why you should buy a house during a recession? And my comment was, I don't even think we're going to need to do that because people are going to see, wait, home values are all of a sudden starting to go down. I don't want a 700 square foot apartment. Rates are really low right now. My job has returned because we're getting more furloughs than anything, and the income's back. Boom. I don't think it's going to decimate I'm not saying it's going to be easy and fun, but I don't see it decimating the industry, and we're going to have the implodometer like we had back in 2008, 2009.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think, the message that we're still trying to get out to our partners, real estate agents and even loan officers alike is like, don't have the mindset of I'll just wait for this to blow over. There's opportunity right now. And that's your point. Your second point was today's January 2nd. You gotta get after it today. And, if there's anything we can do to help you, regardless of the industry, we certainly will.
Well, Brian, let me go add to that. Regardless of the industry, you will. Folks, just if you're a real estate agent who's on this call, I have another call with this group on Friday. I'm going to introduce them to a bunch of new apps and websites. So if you say, hey, those were cool apps and websites he shared with us, talk to your mortgage professional, your loan officer, who's going to talk to me on Friday, and that's going to be what? Always be learning. They said, we got this. Now what are we going to do on Friday? And they'll be able to give you even more information to go after it and get new customers come Monday.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, we got Chance dancing in the bottom, of course. Love it. Love it.
We're gonna
Somebody thinks it feels like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
How about February 2nd, not January 2nd, but I like the January.
Are we good?
Yep. Hey, thanks again, everybody, for joining the call today. And special thanks to Steve and everybody over at Genworth. Guys, keep in mind, without Steve and Genworth and MI companies, it would be much harder for all of us to do business in what we do. They provide mortgage insurance, so we don't have to come up with a 20% down payment. So they make our world go, and we appreciate everything you do for us, Steve. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you. Great partnership. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, no other questions? Great. Have a great week. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Virtual fist bump. Thanks. Take care, all.
Good job, man. Killed it.
Thank you much.